Good evening. The Portsmouth Zoning Board of Review is now in session. We are just going to wait a minute or so for another member to log on to our Zoom meeting. For those of you that want to access the meeting, by phone, the dial-in is 888-788-0099. And once prompted for the meeting ID, dial 810-7212-4202 pound. While in the audio conference, if you want to you have to raise your hand to ask a question. You dial *9. The host will be notified. And then to mute or unmute yourself, dial *6. So we are waiting just for one more member. Mr. Ladika, good evening. You are on mute. Would you want to take yourself off mute?
Good evening.
Okay.
You can hear me?
I can. Mr.
Thank you.
Furell, you're on mute. And Sue, you're on mute as well. So members present right now, we have myself, James Knott as chairman, Mr. John Borden, vice chairman. We are in the council chambers. Remotely, we have Mr. Furell, the secretary. We have Mr. Raposa, regular member. Ms. Horowitz, first alternate. Mr. Ladika, second alternate. The first item on the agenda is a number of minutes. We have the minutes of January 16th, the minutes of February 20th, the minutes of March 19th. And I believe that's them to right now, unless, no, and the meetings for April 16th. Could I have a motion from someone to approve those minutes as written?
Mr. Chairman, I would make a motion that the minutes that you referenced as chair be approved as written.
Thank you. Mr. Borden has made a motion to accept the meeting minutes I listed as presented. Could I have a second on that?
Second, Sue.
That would be Ms. Horowitz.
Yes.
All right, so individually, I will roll call out for in favor, Mr. Borden, in favor of?
Approved.
Mr. Furell?
Approved.
Mr. Raposa?
Approved.
Ms. Horowitz?
Approved.
Mr. Ladika?
Approve.
And the chairman also votes to approve, so those meeting minutes have been approved. The first item on the agenda is a petition by Manuel and Nelia Kuhner seeking a dimensional variance for 121 Rhode Island Boulevard. They have asked that we continue this petition to our regularly scheduled meeting of July 16th, 2020. Could I have a motion to continue that petition?
Mr. Chairman, I would support the motion one more time, but I would also want to reference that I think this, well, I get it that we're in a pandemic, but we've already continued this petition once already.
Just Mike Scholler, assistant planner. There was a death in the family. One of the applicants actually passed away.
All right.
That's the cause for the delay.
I'm sorry, I totally understand. And given those circumstances, I wholeheartedly would make a motion to continue the petition to July.
Could I have a second on that?
Mr. Chairman,
Second that.
second.
Is that Mr. Furell?
Mr. Raposa.
Okay. I'm sorry, who seconded?
Eric Raposa will second that.
Okay. So I have a motion made by Mr. Borden and seconded by Mr. Raposa to continue the petition of Manuel Nelia Kuhner to our regularly scheduled meeting of July 16th. Mr. Borden in favor of?
Yes.
Mr. Furell?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Raposa?
Yes.
Ms. Horowitz?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Ladika?
Yes.
Thank you. And the chairman also votes to approve that as well. All righty, so moving on. The first item on the agenda is a petition by Benjamin and Kathleen Gilroy of Tax Assessors Map 20, Lot 350, 116 Cedar Avenue, seeking to build a two-bedroom addition to the west side of the existing dwelling on their thing. And also, there is no special use permit for this, correct, Mr. Scholler? Just a dimensional variance.
Yes, it's the R10 and they have a,
Right, and they're seeking a 15-foot front yard setback relief, and that is the only. Do we have the Gilroys on?
they are.
Here I am.
Oh,
Hi. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board.
Mr. Gilroy, before we start, I'm going to ask you to raise your hand, and do you swear to tell the truth?
I do.
All right, could you kindly explain to the board what you'd like to do?
Well, my name is Ben Gilroy, and I'm one of the owners of the property at 116 Cedar Ave, along with my parents, who are also in attendance, as is our designer, who can answer any questions you may have on the design plan. I bought the property in May 2017, and over the last 3 years have merged lots to create a little more privacy and accommodate a new 3-bedroom septic system. I've also renovated the inside and outside of the house, the existing house, which is a 1-bedroom, 1-bath cottage. My wife and I are expecting our first child in September, and with our expanding family comes the need for more space, which leads me to the reason we're appearing here tonight. Our petition for relief from the 20-foot front yard setback in order to build a 2-bedroom addition to the west side of the existing house. The relief requested is based on the fact that the existing house is set on the lot in a unique and difficult position, so as to impose a hardship to expanding the footprint of the house within the established front yard setback for the R10 zone. More specifically, as you can see on the plans, the north wall of the existing house is less than 5 feet away from Cedar Ave. Furthermore, and in accordance with the guidance provided in the board's Zoning Relief 101 document, we're requesting that the least relief necessary to build the addition, as our plans call for the north wall to be set back as far as possible from Cedar Avenue as we could get without compromising the functionality of the entryway to the proposed addition from the existing house. In conclusion, I thank the board for your time in hearing our petition and respectfully request that you grant approval for the relief requested. Thank you.
Very well said. You said you merged, how many lots were merged to create the one large lot?
2 lots.
2 lots. And both were individual lots of record, correct?
Yes, they were individual lots, and they're merged now to be 1 lot on the plans.
So by merging the 2 lots, you've actually tried to even conform more to the ordinance by not now seeking any sort of lot coverage variance, correct?
Correct.
Thank you. And where you intend to encroach, I'm just trying to get that. Is that where the existing house is already encroaches that much?
Yeah, the existing house is already 5 feet away from the property line.
All right, and that's from the property line. How far would it be from the actual edge of the road, just out of curiosity, if you had to guess?
It's maybe an additional 2 or 3 feet.
That's it, right? Okay.
Yeah. If that.
Okay. I have no other questions. Members of the board?
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Gordon, go ahead.
one of the diagrams shows the cesspool. Has the cesspool been removed and the septic system, the new system been installed for 3 bedrooms?
It is a 3-bedroom septic. The old cesspool, the brick and such would have to be removed during the creation of the foundation.
Okay, and the existing shed on VP .02 is 10 by 30. Was that existing when you purchased the property? It's a very unusual configuration for a shed.
I agree. Yes, it was already existing.
And are there 2 sheds on the property?
The other one is kind of just a covering for the lawnmower.
Okay, and that those have both been included in your lot coverage.
Yes.
It looks as though there were two lot coverage sheets attached with the petition. One shows 15.8. Looks like the second one shows 12.8. So which one is correct? The 12.8 or the 15.8?
I am not sure.
It's kind of a moot point because you're under the 20% coverage, but I found it unusual that there were two lot coverage worksheets in our petition.
I just want to step in here if I can. Can
Who's
you guys hear
speaking?
me? This is Chelsea, their designer for this project.
Chelsea, just for your last name, what is your full name and address for our secretary, Barbara?
It's Chelsea Wybist, 15 Sundown Lane in Middletown, Rhode Island.
Okay, Chelsea, and you swear to tell the truth?
Yes, I do.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead, continue.
I just wanted to confirm that the 15.8 is the correct lot coverage.
Okay. All right, thank you.
I'm all set, Mr.
You all
Chairman.
set? Mr. Furell, do you have any questions?
No, sir, I do not.
Mr. Reposa?
I do not at this time.
Ms. Horowitz?
No questions at this time.
Okay, Mr. Ladiki, do you have any questions?
No, I do not.
I don't have any as well. Mr. Gilroy, is there anything else you'd like to add at all?
Just that to get more specific with the obstruction to the entryway, as I was talking about. If you look on the plans there, you can see the basement steps are right there. I just wanted to point out that that is the main reason that I have to come further forward, as I can't build an entryway over the basement steps. And that's all.
Right, okay. All right, thank you. I just have to see if there are any abutters or anyone else that wants to speak on this. Mike, is there anyone?
Raise your hand in the app. I don't see anyone.
I don't as well.
Mr. Chairman, just for the record, and this is a very, very, very minute point. If you look at the petition, the petitioner is proposing a distance from the front yard setback in the north of 4 feet, 11.5 inches, and the variance requested was 15 feet. It actually should be 15.5 feet to comply with the ordinance.
That is correct. Is the designer still on?
Chelsea?
Chelsea?
Yep, I'm here. Sorry about that.
Chelsea, just, Mr. Borden brought up a point that the proposed distance on the application is 4 foot, 11.5 inches. And the variance request is 15 feet. Shouldn't that be 15.5 feet? So actually, it would be 15 foot, 1/2 inch.
It should be
15 foot, 1/2 inch, yes, correct.
Yes. Yep, I can confirm that.
Yes, I mean,
I think it's kind of a moot point.
it's a moot point, and I'm fine, I just want to make sure that,
it should be 4 feet 11 inches. It's 16.1 feet to the property line.
okay. Fine, the numbers didn't add up, I just want to point that out for the record.
Okay.
I'm fine.
Thank you. All right, so that being said, and we have no abutters or anyone interested in speaking on this, so Benjamin, Kathleen Gilroy before the board for tax assessors map 20 lot 350, seeking a 15-foot front yard variance for the purpose of building a 2-bedroom addition to the west side of the existing dwelling. Mr. Borden.
Mr. Chairman, the petitioner did actually quite a nice job of presenting the petition. And the proposed addition is not going to encroach any further on the front yard setback. Additionally, the lot coverage is under the required 20%, which I commend the petitioner for doing. So for the purposes of adding 2 bedrooms, certainly more than a reasonable request, and it's the least relief necessary. And so I vote to approve the 15-foot front yard variance to the north. I think it would be more than a mere inconvenience to deny this petition.
Thank you very much. Mr. Furell?
Mr. Chairman, I also vote to approve the special use permit for the reasons described by Mr. Borden.
Mr. Furell, for the record, it's not a special use permit, it's a dimensional variance.
You're right. In that case, Mr. Chairman, I vote to approve the dimensional variance for the reasons stated by Mr. Borden.
Thank you. Mr. Reposa?
I also approve the dimensional variance for reasons previously stated by my peers.
Thank you. Ms. Horowitz?
I approve the dimensional variance for reasons previously stated.
Thank you. The chairman also votes to approve for reasons previously stated by Mr. Borden. Mr. Gilroy, the Gilroys have, in my opinion, have done a good job at trying to conform as much to the ordinances as possible by merging 2 lots together. The house is as it exists, so I believe to deny does amount to more than a mere inconvenience, and I think it is the least relief necessary. So your petition has been approved.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman and members of the board.
Have a good evening.
You too.
Best of luck.
Thank you.
Okay, so the next item on the agenda is a request for a 1-year extension of a previous decision by the zoning board dated June 20th, 2019 for tax assessors map 51 lot 34D, which is an automobile fuel station convenience store on 1568 West Main Road, map 51 lot 34D. And who do we have to present that?
Dave Martin.
Oh, okay. Good evening, Mr. Marlin.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. How are you doing?
Good. Tell us what's going on.
So we had received relief, a year ago with respect to this matter, and for redoing essentially the mobile gas station up on West Main Road, as well as the sign package up there. Since that point, my clients have sought their DEM permits, and they just received the last one in the beginning of March. Their RIPD's permit was March 3rd of this year. And then shortly thereafter, the COVID pandemic occurred, and they kind of put a halt on all capital spending at that point while waiting to see what occurred with the economy. So it kind of put them in a position where they are seeking a 1-year extension of the previously granted special use permit.
Mr. Marlin, for the record, they're not asking for any change whatsoever to that previously granted petition. Everything stays exactly as it was. It's just they need a 1-year extension.
That's correct, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions from any of the board members regarding this? I mean, this is, I think most of the board members here heard this petition. This is the mobile gas station on West Main Road.
Mr. Chairman, I would make a motion that we approve the request to continue the petition as approved a year ago for I believe it would be one more year. Typically, this board grants one extension. After that, then I think we would need to question whether or not they should start. But for now, I would support, and I would make a motion that we approve the petition to grant the extension for 1 year.
Thank you, Mr. Borden. Do I have a second to that motion?
Second. Sue.
And that was Ms. Horowitz, a second in the motion. So all in favor, we will go by roll call. Mr. Borden, all in favor?
I approve.
And Mr. Furell?
I approve.
Mr. Reposa? Mr. Reposa?
I approve.
Thank you. Ms. Horowitz?
I approve.
Chairman also votes to approve as well. So, Mr. Martland, a one-year extension has been granted.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members.
Have a good evening.
You too.
Okay, the last item on the agenda is a petition by Rodney and Kelly. And I mispronounce her name. Gets, I'm going to say.
Yeah, it's Rodney Goods,
Good, okay. I was close.
like stolen.
Give you kudos for
Mr. Goetz is here for 32 Anchor Drive, tax assessors map 23, lot 67. Seeking a dimensional variance for an in-ground pool. Am I correct?
Yes, that's correct, sir.
Okay, so if you can kindly explain to the board exactly what you're looking to do.
Yep, so our house is set back on the property and does not allow for the 30-foot setback from the property line. Yeah, if you go to the picture, yep, so you can see us there, 2367. The house, the septic system and all that is in the front of the house. So we do have the back of the house available. So we're looking for a 20-foot variance off that property line, to put the pool in. I do want to note that the property line, there's a stone wall back there. And on the opposite side of the stone wall, there is a 20-foot drainage easement. So there is some buffer from the 118-16. But so the position of the pool would be behind the house there. And as we're, looking for a 20-foot, yeah, you could see 10-foot would be the minimum distance there. So we're looking for that variance of 20.
And then from that 10 feet, you state that there's another 20-foot drainage easement from there to the
Yes, that's correct.
behind you, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay. Actually, I'm familiar with that neighborhood as I live near there and I walk my dog through that neighborhood many a time. So I actually often wondered why your particular house, and I know the house, was set back from all the others. And apparently it's because they decided to put the septic system in the front of the house, correct?
That's probably the reason. I know this is, the whole front here is all fill, so I'm not sure, but so what we have.
Now, there are another number of other houses that have since put pools, some above ground. I believe there's 1 or 2 in-ground pools in that neighborhood as well. Am I correct?
Yes, correct. In fact, if I look out my window here, there's one going in a few houses down. The contractor that we came has actually done a number in this neighborhood. I believe each one of them, he said, needed a variance. But yeah, pools are pretty common in this neighborhood, and I think they'll be more common as folks tend to stay home.
Correct. Now, will the pool be fenced?
Absolutely, yes.
And how high will the fence be?
I'm sorry, how high will the fence be?
Yeah.
We haven't determined that.
I believe our ordinance calls for 6
6
foot,
feet.
just so you're aware of that.
Oh, okay, that's no problem. In fact, we'd want to go as high as possible because it's very windy in this area.
That's correct. Okay, I also noticed that it's 16 by 40, so it's not a very wide pool as far as pools go.
Yeah,
So it looks like you've tried to fit it in the area, so.
yeah, Mr. Chairman, that's correct. You know, the next nominal size is an 18-foot wide, and you know, we decided to go longer. We've got the length long ways, so we decided to, you know, go with the 40-foot, but yes, a thinner pool to, you know, to keep it as far away from the property line and also off the back of the house. We don't want it right up against the house.
Right, I see that as well. Okay. All right, I have no other questions. Questions from the board? Nope, nothing from Mr. Borden. Mr. Furell, any questions from you?
No question, sir.
Mr. Reposo?
No questions at this time.
Okay, Ms. Horowitz?
No questions.
Mr. Ladika, any questions from you?
No questions.
Okay, yes, is there anything else you'd like to add?
Just say hello next time you walk by.
Okay. Well, I have to check to see if there are any abutters or interested parties, and I don't think we have anyone.
So we got one.
We do have one, okay.
Carolina.
Yes,
Yes. Hi, I'm the neighbor that lives right behind you, so hello. I just want to make sure that I understand why you said that the fence was going to be.
okay, hang on a second. Carolina, could you just give us your full name and address for please?
Sure. I'm Carolina Briano. I'm in 73 Botello Drive.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
Sorry about that. I just wanted to understand when you said that the fence was going to be higher because it's windy. My only concern is the fence, just because I have a 2-year-old that at one point will find it extremely interesting to jump in your pool at one point. So that was my only concern.
Right, and they are required, and it will be part of their building permit, they are gonna be required to put at least a 6-foot high fence up around either the property or the pool to prevent that.
Okay.
Okay?
Yes.
All right, any other concerns?
Nope, that's it.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We have anyone else? We do not. So, Rodney and Kelly Goods before this board of Texas's map 23 lot 67, seeking a 20-foot rear yard setback for the purpose of installing an in-ground pool. Mr. Borden.
Mr. Chairman, the petitioners are requesting a pool, which is an approved accessory use for the full enjoyment of the property in our zoning ordinance. In my opinion, this pool is not a structure. It's essentially at ground level. And the petitioner is well under the 20% lot coverage. And a 20-foot setback variance, given the fact that there's already a 20-foot drainage easement, is more than a reasonable request. It's clearly the least relief necessary. Petitioner is requesting a 16-foot wide pool. They could have requested a much wider pool, but they didn't. So they're seeking the least relief necessary, and to deny would amount to more than a mere inconvenience. I vote to approve.
Thank you. Mr. Furell.
Mr. Chairman, I vote to approve the dimensional variance for the reasons cited by Mr. Borden.
Thank you. Mr. Reposo.
I also vote to approve for reasons previously stated by Mr. Burrell.
Thank you. Ms. Horowitz.
I vote to approve for reasons previously stated.
Thank you. The chairman votes to approve for reasons previously stated by Mr. Borden as well. I totally concur with him. And knowing the property somewhat, with that drainage easement, yes, there's plenty of room in the back. The fact that it is required to be fenced will take care of the neighbors' concerns because they do have a young child that, and I agree, would become curious at some point. So your petition has been approved.
All right, Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. Thank you, members of the board.
All right,
Best of luck.
Thank you very much.
thank you. And that concludes any business we have. Could I have a motion to adjourn?
Mr. Chairman, motion to adjourn.
Motion has been made by Mr. Borden to adjourn. May I have a second?
Mr. Chairman, I
Second
second.
that motion.
I'll second that. So, Mr. Borden, in favor?
Yes.
Mr. Furell?
Yes.
Mr. Reposa?
Yes.
Ms. Horowitz?
Yes.
Mr. Wadika?
Yes.
And the chairman also votes in favor of. Thank you very much, folks. Have a good evening.
Bye.
Thank
You
you.
as well.
32.
You made it.